What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Today, on our Friday episode, I'm going to come at you with 4 players to buy low on in Dynasty right now, post free agency. Some spots have changed for these guys, and I think it brings with it some interesting values moving forward. As always, please subscribe to the channel if you can. It helps me out so much. I've been having so much fun watching these numbers go up, coming at you with more videos. Like the video, and let me know if you have any questions down in the comments, trade questions, league questions, how to start things up, literally anything. I'm here to help and love chatting about it. So first trade for the day I want to talk about today is George Pickens for Jayden Reed and a 4th. Now, basically what I'm doing here is I think I want to go attack George Pickens as a guy to get on my team. I think this offseason has played out fairly well for Pickens. He definitely, categorizes as an alpha type receiver. I think losing Deontay Johnson is very helpful for Pickens. Now, I do imagine they add someone in the draft. Pittsburgh is very good at drafting wide receivers. But I think last year it showed that when Deontay Johnson was out, Pickens really succeeded, and those were some of his best games and stretches of the year. In addition to that, I think Russell Wilson probably being the starting quarterback definitely matches up with more what Pickens' strengths are. Think of Courtland Sutton last year. I think Pickens is just a better version of Courtland Sutton, and Sutton had a monster year for Courtland Sutton playing in Denver standards. So I think Pickens can exceed that. And he's someone right now where he's kind of at wide receiver 27 on KTC. And I just think he can exceed those numbers. You're giving up Jayden Reed here, who's wide receiver 28. They're just neck and neck, which is why I threw the 4th rounder on Jayden Reed's side to maybe get this done. I do really like Jayden Reed as a player. I think he's in an elite offense moving forward, but there's a lot of elite pieces in that Green Bay offense. And I think besides maybe Josh Jacobs, I think it may be hard to pick which one you want every week unless you're coming in with Love or Josh Jacobs. So this trade may be able to get done. I'd probably even go up to a 3rd here on top of Jayden Reed to get this done, as I see Pickens' value potentially just slowly going up all offseason as he continues to get more hyped with Russ at quarterback. Second trade for the day here. I spoke about something similar earlier this week, trading Justin Fields for picks, but how about just a QB swap, a guy who did terrible last year and a guy who people may still like in your Dynasty League in Justin Fields? I would take Bryce Young over Justin Fields right now. I think Bryce Young kind of seems to be on the up, at least hype-wise. He got a good coach. He got Deontay Johnson as a weapon. I'd imagine they add another wide receiver in the draft. And I love that he got Canales, who fixed Geno and Baker. Why can't Bryce Young do it if Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield can kind of turn their careers around with Canales at the helm there? And Justin Fields, I just think is going to keep slipping in value, and I think I'm getting out. It's really what it comes down to. I think Justin Fields is a much better fantasy asset than a real-life quarterback, which is awesome when he's on the field and playing. I just struggle to see that he may not be playing as much as these people kind of holding on to his fantasy past want him to. Next trade for the day, Gardner Minshew, man. Go get Gardner Minshew. I think he is a cheap quarterback who probably is going to be the starter next year. And he was pretty solid in Indy as the starter. Go look at his stats. He had plenty of top, definitely tons of top 24 placements, which if you're playing in a 2 QB or a Superflex league is really what you're looking like. And he had some spike weeks where he was much higher than that. So how about we use Darnell Mooney, who's getting a little hype right now? Someone I actually recommended buying because I thought his value would go up. Let's capitalize on his value going up and trade him for Gardner Minshew if you need quarterback depth in a super flex league. I think Gardner Minshew is a great 3rd QB in a super flex league. When you need to play him, if he's starting, he gets you pretty good production. I don't think I want to rely on him as my QB2 as, next year, maybe even halfway through the season, he may not be the starter. But when he's on the field, he's producing. And I don't think trading Darnell Mooney is that much of a stretch. This even says Mooney is an overpay for Minshew. I like Mooney. I think he's going to be a solid number 2 there in Atlanta. They still may draft someone. They traded for Rondell Moore. I think it's going to be pretty heavy targets for Pitts and London. And I think Mooney's going to be pretty up and down with his targets. He's a good route runner, but he's not the player that Jordan Addison was. And I don't think we can just immediately transfer Cousins' attempts and stats over to these Atlanta wide receivers. I just do not find it to be that simple of a comparison, apples to apples kind of thing. Next one here. How about getting Gus Edwards on your team for pick 308? 2. I think Gus is a pretty solid budget buy if you're looking for a flex back, an RB4, 5 on your team, your competing team. Now, I think the Chargers are going to add another guy. I cannot imagine that Gus Edwards is going to be the only running back going in here. But we can't pretend that this situation isn't very good for Gus Edwards with all the moves the Chargers have been making. Getting rid of their wide receivers, hiring Harbaugh, hiring Greg Roman, Gus Edwards' old offensive coordinator from Baltimore a couple years ago, signing Disley, a blocking tight end. They're probably going to add another tight end. They're probably going to beef the O lineup. They're going to play Harbaugh football. I am not worried about Herbert. I've seen a lot of rumors going around of people thinking Herbert is just done in Dynasty now and his value is going to tank. The dude's very good, and they're going to give him some offensive weapons. It's just the beginning of this rebuild for Harbaugh. And Harbaugh's a very good coach. I just don't imagine Herbert disappearing. But I think Gus Edwards is a good budget buy at 10 TDs. You know, he puts it in the end zone, and that's very valuable for fantasy football. I'd imagine he keeps doing that. All signs are pointing towards Gus Edwards being a solid part of this offense. I'm not saying he's going to be a 60, 70% snap share guy, but he's probably going to get you some TDs. And I think you could do a lot worse than having him in your flex or bye-week fill-ins, a guy you could get now who's probably just a cheap buy, probably going to outproduce whoever you find at 3-2 if you are a contending team. So thank you guys for tuning in. This was a quick one, a Friday episode. I don't want to take up too much of your time on the Friday show. Some buy low players after free agency. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel. I love helping you. I'm having a blast, and have a good weekend. Let me know if you have any questions. I am here for you. Peace, guys.